front.
Salmon up front. Good signing.
Yeah, he's been good.
Davies, I think they're unchanged from what I can gather.
I'd say they both are, to be honest.
Yeah.
They've been playing well. Tell us when we're live. Yeah, we'll say. Alright.
It's a windy Saturday afternoon here at Green Gully Reserve, but we've got a good game here ahead. The only game this afternoon in the top flight. The team most intent on reversing their fortunes from the season previous is the side who does host today's match. Green Gully endured one of their poorest seasons on record in 2018, but things look to be turning after 5 matches this year. Avondale want to keep what they had last season but build upon it, and they're executing that perfectly so far in 2019, the only side undefeated in Victoria to now. It is Green Gully and Avondale in round 6 of NPL Victoria, streaming live across the platforms of YouTube and Facebook. Jordan Canellis with you, and we'll get to Marcus Copsey in a second, but before that we'll observe a minute's silence here at Green Gully Reserve. Wind howls over a silent Green Gully Reserve for a moment's silence, and now we get to the football. Jordan Canellis with you on a very windy day here at Green Gully Reserve. It's a most Melbourne day. It rained this morning and now it's over 30 degrees and beaming hot in the afternoon as I welcome Marcus Copsey to our feature game today. Hello, Marcus.
Jordan, how you going, mate? It's, yeah, I don't know if we're going to still be here at the end of the game. We might be by the corner flag, but yeah, should be a good game.
We're about to get blown away, I think. So Avondale and Green Gully today. Avondale wearing their away white with the blue sleeves, and Green Gully in their familiar green and white stripes. It does make for an interesting matchup. Avondale coming in first on the NPL Victoria table, undefeated this season, 5-0 in the first 5 weeks. And Green Gully, well, they started last season pretty well as well before they fell away. They've started this season well. Hopefully they can keep it going today, but it will be a mighty task against this Avondale team. Chris Hope is our referee this afternoon, and he gets us underway from Green Gully Reserve in what is a top 6 matchup in this 6th round of the season. Marcus, you've seen Green Gully before. We've all seen Avondale and what they've been able to do this year. What are you anticipating from today's matchup?
Goals. I've commentated both sides this season. Avondale look really, really good. They were good last season, but they just look a bit more, maybe just that grand final loss, they're a bit more hungry. And Green Gully, 2 minutes away from being relegated, and they've started the season so well. It surprised me. So yeah, I think there'll be goals in the game today.
Yeah, both sides ended last year in the post-season, but both at very different ends. Avondale in the grand final, Green Gully in the promotion relegation playoff. Right from the off, there's a bit of a stoppage in play as it looks like Stefan Zinni on the far side received a heavy knock and he was slow to get up. But play back underway. So Green Gully scoring to the left of your screens this afternoon. Facebook and YouTube across the channels of NPL Victoria. get to the lineups in a second. Here's Reid, the former Green Gully player himself, up against his former team. Out to the near side. This is Lundy, new recruit. To the edge of the box, cleared away by Gully. And away down in defence to Scott Hillier. So Green Gully line up with Jared Tyson, unchanged. Jared Tyson in goals. Jeremy Walker, Daniel Jones, Jordan Hall and Jordan Lampard across the back four. Jonathan Boonis and Timmy Purcell in the middle. Playing as the playmaker Jay Davies. Flanking him will be Andy Brennan and Matt Fletcher. And up front, Alex Salmon. That wind is going to be consistent all day. Another foul on the far side. For Avondale, Liam Boland starts in the team. Scott Hillier, Brandon Lundy in defence. Chris Oldfield, the goalkeeper. Matthew Reid in defence as well. James Rikabene, Phil Rikabene, Tasuku Sakia, the Japanese import from New South Wales. Yite Towns, Stefan Valentini and Stefan Zinni on the flanks. So unchanged as well from last week, Avondale. Ooh, mistake in defence from Reid. It's allowed Fletcher in. He's inside the box, Fletcher. No support though, has to go by himself. And Oldfield made the save with his legs. And a quick break there from Gully through the mistake of their former player Matthew Reid.
Very lucky for Reid there. That was not only did he miss the ball and then had a bit of a tumble, the heart would have been in his mouth coming back to Green Gully reserve, but he did well to put it out and get a goal kick.
Certainly caught everyone else out. Fletcher was all by himself. Salmon closes down Oldfield. Reid trying to shake away the nerves. Touch was a bit too light there from Boland, so Gully have it through Purcell. Jones turns it around the corner. Lampard receiving some heavy contact from Valentini. Davies goes to grounds. Chris Hope lets play go on, and Sakia moves up the other end. Heavy challenge from Purcell. Chris Hope, as he is wont to do, lets the play go. Towns plays it through, too heavy for Zinni running onto it. And Tyson makes the claim.
I think that battle in the midfield is going to be key to this game. Yite Town's been really impressed with him this year. Sort of moving away from that defensive role into the midfield. He, against South Melbourne a couple of weeks ago, was absolutely fantastic. So keep an eye out for him, and Green Gully in the middle, always been strong. So yeah, good battle shaping up.
Both sides have each a genuine utility player. It's not common in football, but Timmy Purcell for Green Gully has played just about every position on the field except goalkeeper. And Yite Towns is starting to become that player as well. He was recruited as a attacking midfielder, winger, plays in the middle as well, played in defence. We'll stick with this for a moment as Walker shepherds it for Tyson. But probably back in a more familiar position, Yite Towns at number 10. Here is one of those utility players in Purcell. Now to Boonis. Missed the start of the season, but in the starting 11 since. Walker. Brennan takes it over.
Another one of those players that can change a game, Boonis.
Towns is heavy, Towns is a touch a bit heavy. Davies came in. And now Philip Rikabene in midfield. Brother James at left back. This is Reid. Shares it with Lundy, who's moving up, and now to play again. So pressing all over the field, Green Gully, making it difficult for Avondale to get into their half. It's been a good start in these opening 5 minutes at Green Gully Reserve. Both sides in decent form this season. Avondale 5-0 as they look to go down the left. Zinni attacking down that flank. And then he's taken out over the byline for a goal kick. So quite a warm day at Green Gully Reserve. I'm already down a water bottle.
I'm down a water bottle because I left it at home. So yeah, I feel ya.
I brought 2 with me, and I'm down to 1. We're only 6 minutes in. Can only imagine what the players are feeling. Riccobene has it. Lundy's very slow to get up, just out of frame. And Avondale might stop play here because Lundy is crawling around on all fours just down beneath our commentary position.
Don't want to put it out.
They don't, do they? Riccobene reluctantly does, and now Chris Hope will scurry over to Lundy, who is still slow to get up. Didn't see what that was for.
I missed that one as well. It must have just been after he played the ball in field, but I definitely didn't see it.
One of the host of new players to Avondale's side this season, Brandon Lundy, comes from Newcastle. So we'll have a break in play as he receives some attention. If they must, they do have a few options to replace him. Phil Riccobene is capable at fullback as well. On the bench they've got Jai Spiteri, Joe Katabian, Johnson Hamano and Yusuf Ahmed, so not too many defenders among them.
Could always bring on Katabian and move Yusei Towns back there as well. So yeah, as you said, they've got a couple of utilities. It's very early to be making a change.
It's not even apparent what he's done.
I think it might be an ankle.
Yeah.
Seems alright.
When he was on the ground, he wasn't holding anything. He was just kind of writhing around. So
head, maybe he just caught one on the side of the head.
Ambiguous in how it happened and ambiguous in what it actually is. But he's up now and it's on the sideline, ready to come back on as we'll get play back underway. It's been a decent start so far to this afternoon game.
Traditional football time.
Yes. Yeah, 3 o'clock on a Saturday.
Fantastic. That wind stopped as well. Don't worry.
There it goes. Long ball out of defence from Hillier, and the offside flag's gone up on the near side. Avondale and Chris Hope alike just delay to react to that.
We've joked about the wind just in the last couple of minutes, but how as a player do you cope with a wind like this when you're trying to play 40-yard balls just like that?
Yeah. I wonder how often we'll see long balls sort of hold up in the wind.
Definitely a game to try and keep it at feet. Absolutely.
Towns met hard by Davies. Fletcher was in quick on Reed. There we go. There is the hold up. Long ball out of defence from Matt Reed. Barely breaks the invisible boundary of the centre circle as it gets held up. Walker nods it down. Boonis on. Hillier away to the near side. Lundy punches it down to Valentini, who's taking on the man in front of him in Lampard. Back to Lundy. Whips in the cross. The header comes from Boland, and diving away was Tyson, who just kept it in at the back post. Great ball from Lundy. Perfect shape on that. Almost worked it with the wind.
Yeah, you're going to get plenty of curl today, so that was a fantastic ball and equally good save.
So both sides have had a chance in the first 10. Fletcher, that break from the mistake of Reed, and now Avondale through that cross from Lundy. It's not a good day for papers on a desk either.
I've got rid of mine already.
Yeah, smart. Lampard overcommitted there, charged out with the header. Now it's to Suka Sakia. Worked in a short ball, nodded away. Jordan Hall was there and Boonis clears it on. Now Fletcher chases it down. He's got the better of Hillier. In fact, it's not Fletcher. It's down to Brennan. Edge of the box. Here's Salmon. Fletcher did come in belatedly, and Salmon's ball didn't quite get there. Avondale a bit scrappy in the way they cleared that out, but they did it eventually. Not looking all that confident in defence, I'd say, Avondale, to start this match. A few errors already under pressure when they've been on the ball.
No, this is the first time I've seen this. The last few weeks when I've been watching them, they've looked really solid. Reed and Hillier at the back, they just look a bit shaky at the moment.
Green Gully enjoying some early momentum. Walker down the right side, finds Brennan. Taken to ground by Riccobene. Chris Hope lets it go, and now it's Zinni. Flowing down the left side. Trying to be corralled there by Hall, but Zinni continues on all the way to the byline. Out over the byline. Who'd that come off last? I think it came off a Green Gully player last.
Tell you what, I reckon, who was the defender at the far post? He's lucky that Zinni didn't go down there. Oh, it was a big grab of the shirt. Zinni, to his credit, stayed on his feet, but if he'd gone down, I reckon that might have been a penalty.
So corner from the far side to be taken by Tasuku Sakia, who has 2 goals himself for the season. This one he'll try and set up himself. Cross comes in, Tyson missed it. Valentini was at the back and the foul was called on Tyson. He missed it because, well, he was fouled. Pushed over in the scrap. Green Gully broke a 2-game losing streak last week, defeating Port Melbourne. Salmon almost there onto Oldfield. Port Melbourne haven't enjoyed this season so far. Alex Salmon scored a double last week against the Sharks.
Great pickup for Green Gully, Alex Salmon.
He's been fantastic. Wondered where those goals were going to come from. They weren't an overly high-scoring team last season, and those who were scoring the goals, like Kieran Dover and Nick Crisaratis, all left. But smart signings from those at Green Gully. Stephen Downs returning, this time in a full-time role as the manager. Lundy down to Valentini, who has wanted to break away a couple of times, Valentini, but he's been corralled well each occasion by Lampard. Same goes there. It does feel like a lazy Saturday afternoon at the football. Look across to our left and there are people lounging on the hill here at Green Gully Reserve.
Got an Adelaide Oval feel.
Yes. Letting that gust blow through your hair. That came off Reed last. So it will be a corner even though he's kicked it away, Reed. And now Green Gully's turn to send this one in. Chris Hope having a chat down there. I think it's Jordan Hall, just obscured from my view. Matthew Fletcher, in fact.
There was a bit of a discussion with him and Davies. I'm not too sure what that's about, but this is a dangerous corner. If you sort of aim for the penalty spot here, this is going to swing right into that back post. So, yeah, if they can get this right, it could be really dangerous.
So Davies to send it in very deep. Right out the back, headed back in by Hall. There was a flash at it there from Jones, and then cleared away by Boland, just thumped away into safety. Walker will send it back in. The ball carried by the wind skips off the turf to Davies again. Lundy falls over, so it might open things up for Davies, but coming in and helping out was Valentini, who did well.
It just seems that the Avondale defence aren't picking up the wind at the moment. You saw there the crossfield ball. Lundy committed, and then sort of thought, oh no, that's going way over my head. So I don't know, maybe they're just not coming to terms with it.
Here's Daniel Jones, stalwart, returning to Green Gully. His ball to Brennan, too heavy. Brennan buffeted off that as well by James Ricobene. So 0-0 after the opening quarter hour of this fixture on your Saturday afternoon, after what was an eventful Friday night last night across Victoria for numerous reasons. Some big results, some upsets, and the return of a big name as well. We'll talk about that throughout the afternoon. Tyson into midfield from that kick. One back by Avondale. Now Zinni played in by Towns. Zinni down the left, took the shot, flashed to the line for Tyson, and there's shouts here from all directions.
I think he's given it.
It's a penalty.
It'd be an indirect free kick, I think.
For a back pass?
Yeah, but that's very harsh.
Yeah, very harsh. That shot came in at 100 miles an hour from Zinni.
I think it's going to be an indirect free kick.
Yeah, you're right.
So the wall will have to line up on the goal line.
I think we have to get our phones out to have a look at that on the Facebook replay, because I thought that was a clear shot from Zinni.
Well, it was a shot that was parried by Tyson, and it did hit the foot, I think, of Walker, and went straight into the hands of Tyson. But I don't think.
But at that pace,
I don't think he knew much about it.
No, at that pace, surely. So indirect free kick indeed. Now they can't score directly from this, so they'll have to be a touch first, and those are the rules. So Sakia will probably lay this off to Boland, who's riding shotgun, or even Towns.
Always a great sight, this.
Yes, everyone on the line for Green Gully. Should lie someone down across the back as well. So right from the edge of the 6-yard box, Sakia will touch us back to Boland, who does score from an indirect free kick deep in the box. Liam Boland's record in this fixture against his former team continues on, and Avondale, they take the lead in the 19th minute. No mercy from Liam Boland against his former side.
It is very hard to score from those situations. When there's so many players in the 6-yard area, it's easy to just try and smack it as hard as you can. He did hit it hard, but he aimed for that far corner, and he's finished it well. So controversial, the free kick, but well finished by Liam Boland.
Liam Boland, the all-time high scorer in this fixture.
Looked like one of the Green Gully coaching staff was just booked as well.
Ten goals for Liam Boland. He scored 7 for Green Gully against Avondale, and now 3 for Avondale against Green Gully. So a goal against the grain always makes things interesting, and that's what we've got. Gully, you'd say, had the better of the opening 20 minutes. Avondale not poor by any means, but certainly not the team on top. Lundy overhead. Lampard down to Purcell. He got caught very late. That has to be a card against Valentini, and Hope was instant to the back pocket.
Not a great challenge.
No, that was
really
very late. The loud shriek from Timmy Purcell sold it a bit as well, but the card very much warranted.
Going back to the goal, Jordan, that came about purely from the raw pace of Stephen Zinni. And I've watched most Avondale games this year, and and I'm yet to see a fullback that can even closely compete with the speed of him. And for Avondale, what a weapon that is. Like, you think last year they had Elvis Kamsoba doing that. This year they've got Stefan Zinni. And, well, second half here with the wind at his back, it's going to be lightning.
Well, this year it was and is Stefan Zinni's to embrace. He was on the squad list last year, but as we know, didn't really get a regular starting position. This is Walker invading the Avondale area, and he's been called back. But yeah, Kamsoba and Katabian out wide, and Boland and Shepherd up the middle as well. It was just, there was no real opening for Stefan Zinni, despite the big raps on him, and he's been on an A-League list before, but now the door has opened for him, and looks like he's taking that opportunity in the first month and a half of the season.
Yeah, well, the game against South Melbourne a couple of weeks ago, he ran them ragged. He was absolutely fantastic that day. So he's continuing his good form, and you can just see, as you said, Avondale 5 from 5, and he's been a big part of that.
Wind causing havoc through midfield. No one's able to get a read on where the ball's going to land or bounce. And now Hillier strides away. Rigabene, they'll use that side of the ground again where Stefan Zinni awaits. Up in the aerial battle this time, and now Boland, who's drifted wide. Back for Zinni. Boland remained out there. Shoves off a man in Walker. Now Rigabene comes in. Davies comes away with it for Gully. Neat little touch around Valentini. There's nothing ahead of play there for Davies, and Lampard thumps it away. Phil Rigabene finds Valentini. Another new name coming over from Western Australia. Reed tries to funnel that one through for Sakia, who was moving. The ricochet was a bit unkind there for Tyson, who did well enough to just slide in and clear it away. Brennan a few touches over the top. They've done this a couple of times, trying to play in Salmon in between the defenders, and Oldfield out off his line quick.
It's hard to, as silly as it sounds, it's hard to play those long balls with the wind, because they're just going to bounce through to the keeper, and you've seen a couple of times they've gone through to Oldfield uncontested because there's just too much on it.
High ball from Salmon, lets that one ride in the wind down to Brennan. And well done out there by James Rigabene. This matchup pits two new managers against each other. Stephen Downs, sort of a new old manager, I suppose. He was there for half a year in 2015 after, was it Stojcevski, I think, left his post at Green Gully. Downs took over for half a season with Roddy Vargas, and Zoran Markovski, who's come in at the helm to replace Anthony Barbieri, the long-time coach of Avondale. So two new faces with their teams in the top 6 early stages of the season. Here's Davies, good pass to find Salmon, who took the shot, and it was blocked in defence by Scott Hillier. A corner for Green Gully.
Salmon just looks like he's struggling a bit after that shot. He did slip as he took the shot, but I don't know if he's winded or maybe just sort of jarred the ankle or the knee, but yeah, he looks to be struggling a little bit.
My apologies to Matthew Reid, it was his block. Corner comes in, Hall at the back post, didn't quite communicate that well with Fletcher, and they sort of ran into each other's paths and got nothing out of it. Knocks that one straight down to Phil Rigabene. Zinni retreats. Scott Hillier. Finds Zinni on that far side once more. Cuts back onto his right foot, and that cross goes all the way through, and Valentini, the opposite winger, folded in, and it's just flashed past his boot.
It's all coming down that left-hand side for Avondale. It's going to Zinni, and he's either taking the defender on or cutting back and crossing it in, but very rarely have they used this right-hand side with Valentini.
Yeah, Valentini had a few goes in the first couple of minutes, but to no avail, and yeah, I think they've identified Zinni as the better outlet. You're absolutely right. Very high ball. Right at the top of Boland's head. That wouldn't have been comfortable. Jones. Heavy touch from Brennan. Works though for Walker, who ran straight into James Ricobene, and that will be a foul. And so another Avondale player goes into the book. James Ricobene this time. That challenge a bit too heavy on Walker.
Yeah, good decision by Chris Hope. That was just knocked it past him, and that's very obvious take one for the team.
So perhaps a chance here for Green Gully to threaten the Avondale goal. None of their set pieces so far have really come to anything of significant note. One through half chances, but nothing that's forced Chris Oldfield into anything spectacular. Jay Davies will whip this one in. Fans stand waiting, hung over the fence, and that set piece really again came to nothing. Boland clears it away. They'll try again on the follow-up. Comes down to Davies, who stole Purcell's thunder. Purcell might be a bit livid with him because he had the right foot set up ready to unleash. Lampard crossfield, poor ball. Zinni lost it. Davies, Spoonis, and now Salmon skips around one, looking to size something up. Into the 18-yard area, taken off his toes by James Ricobene. Down the sideline, Purcell, and now Davies again. Shakia stands him up. Here's Salmon again. Works in the cross. Jordan Hall, the defender, stayed up, and that passage was a bit labour intensive from Green Gully. Avondale did well to just keep them out of position.
Might be worth just going for a ping from the top of the box. There were a couple of chances where I think it was Salmon and, as you said, Purcell had one nicked off his toes, but just have a shot. You've got the wind behind you. It's not gonna, like, if you miss, you miss. It's worth a shot.
That is true as well. Actually, with that wind, you can probably have a ping and it will swing every which way against Chris Oldfield. So
you're not going to be able to do it in the second half. So
no, exactly.
You might as well do it this half.
Give it a go. Davies turns it around the corner well for Brennan. Finds a pocket down that right side. Cuts it back, looking for Salmon, who was too far behind and too far away. Still might work out though for Green Gully, who get the second effort. Brennan now to Salmon, who does want to unleash on the left, and the deflection off Andy Brennan turns it into the back of the nets. And there you go, Marcus Copsey take a shot and it might work out. A bit of luck needed that time, but they get the goal, Green Gully, and they equalise.
Not really what I was expecting when I said go for a shot, but Andy Brennan, right place, right time. He'll definitely say he meant it. I'm not too sure if he was, but they all count.
Take your chances, and something might come. Back level at Green Gully Reserve. That's exciting. It's been a good game so far. Green Gully fans around us very happy.
We said there'd be goals.
Well, these sides have met 4 times in NPL Victoria here at Green Gully Reserve. They haven't met too many occasions. First time was when Avondale got promoted to the top flight in 2015, but each time they've met at this venue, Gully has scored at least 3 goals. So you're right, there definitely will be goals going off past form. And again, Alex Salmon involved this season. He trails Liam Boland in the Golden Boot. Liam Boland extends his season tally to 7 goals, and Salmon's on 5, but not only scoring goals, but helping set them up, albeit inadvertently on the last one. Enjoyable game to watch so far. It's been open in some parts, it's been attacking, bit of chaos thrown in as well with the winds, at times making things difficult in midfields, which doesn't always make for clean football, but fun at least.
Unpredictable.
Yeah, it's a lotto sometimes in midfield, and some heavy challenges too thrown in, as there is there on Valentini. Chris Hope pointing and having a chat with Lampard as Lampard tries to wheel away. That's Andy Brennan's first goal of the year as well. A lucky one to turn past Chris Oldfield. Lundy up through the middle of the park to Boland, dropping in. Sakia knocks it down to Phil Riccobene and then darts off. Swung out to the left side. He was looking for his brother, but that one didn't curl all the way back with the wind, and Brennan got fouled. Or gave away the foul. So Avondale will try and set something up from this range. Wouldn't imagine a direct shot at goal, but try and work it into the box. Sakia gets it in, bounces down to Boland, who flicks it on, and the flag has gone up. Boland thought he just backheeled in the goal this season, but the flag went up pretty smartly on the near side. Davies gets in the cross. Fletcher was there but headed away by Reed and then hooked further clear by Riccobene. Back into the mixer and floats over the head of Matt Fletcher.
Looks like Stefan Zinni and Valentini have switched wings now, so Jordan Lampard's chance to try and keep up with Zinni.
Riccobene lost control. Brunis in a tight spot, has to go at the back to Jones. Why do you think that's happened? Zinni's enjoyed this game so far on the left.
Yeah, well, just you see a lot of teams do it these days, just switching it up. Zinni, who was right-footed on the left-hand side, will have more of a tendency to cut in. He's out on the right-hand side now, more of a traditional winger, and try and get those crosses into Boland.
Haven't enjoyed too much luck, I suppose, going up through the middle on the ground, so yeah, perhaps a different outlook, try and get him in high and wide from the right side. Here's Davies, 3 Avondale players ahead of him, becomes even more, takes the shot, deflection off a defender. Thankfully for Chris Oldfield this time, turned away from his goal and he throws his head back in relief.
He must be sick of these defenders just sticking out a foot. That one looked very similar to the goal, and from the angle we're at, it's hard to tell how far away it was, but yeah, it would have been a bit of a heart and mouth situation for Chris Oldfield.
So results in the corner. Davies again. They'll scurry around in the box, and once more Davies' corner kick is way too deep. It was Hall at the back who tried to salvage that, and then Reed goes down very heavily from the challenge of Boonis. Chris Hope will meander over to Boonis, doesn't show the card, but has a word in his left ear.
He's lucky to escape one there, I think.
Yeah. We're coming through loud and clear on Facebook and YouTube on the NPL Victoria channels. Wind is heavy. That's Green Gully Reserve this Saturday afternoon. Jordan Canellis and Marcus Copsey with you. Enjoying a pretty decent match of football, it must be said. 1-1 after 37 minutes up in the far northern suburbs.
After our great analysis there, the wingers will swap back. So forget everything we just said.
They'll look to go down that left side again, where Zinni takes up residence. Walker can't keep him at bay. Zinni continues on, brought down, surely penalty. Tyson was a bit late, and it will be. And will it be a card as well? Chris Hope. Doesn't look like it will show. But Tyson, stern words to the referee. Chris Hope, stern words back. That was definitely a penalty, Marcus.
Yeah, and there's the card. Again, just raw pace from Stefan Zinni. I reckon he was at least probably a yard or two behind Jeremy Walker when he started that. He gets in front of him, cuts it back, and then just sort of flicks it past Tyson, who had committed, and it's an easy penalty. It's not a difficult decision for Chris Hope to make.
Some pace and that little bit of trickery from Zinni.
You'll have the stats on this. What number penalty will this be for Avondale this year? They've had a few.
I don't have the stats on that, I think, unfortunately, but I think Boland has scored 2 or 3 penalties already this season.
I think it's 3, so this could be a 4th.
So Boland steps up, 1 already, left-footed, make that 2, straight down the middle. Tyson kicks the ball away in anger, and Avondale retake the lead at Green Gully Reserve. Easy penalty to award from the referee, and an easily converted shot from Liam Boland straight down the middle. And the league leaders lead here with about 5 minutes to go in regulation, first half.
Yeah, as you said, easy decision. It's a clear penalty. I'm not really too sure what Tyson was pleading, but it was a clear penalty, and yeah, they're showing why they're the league leaders. They've gone one up, then they've gone back down again, and they haven't panicked, and just used the quality that they have.
Liam Boland's goal tally swells again to this afternoon, taken to 8 for the season inside 6 rounds, or 5.5 matches if you want to get technical, which is a fantastic return already for Liam Boland.
Well, I saw a comment just as we were starting saying Liam Boland to Western United, so he's definitely impressing some people.
Yeah. Be a great loss for the NPL, but it'd be fantastic to see him play at a high level. Certainly capable.
I think there'll be a few players around Victoria that will be having the back of their mind that they might want to play a bit better this year with that opportunity arising.
Scored 16 goals last season, Liam Boland, so he's already halfway there in the first month and a half of 2019. Could be massive things ahead for him in Avondale.
He doesn't have to share them with Kane Shepherd this year, that's
exactly. So going up to the closing stages of the first half. It's see how Green Gully handle these last 4 or 5 minutes. If they want to push for the equaliser, which they do, but how hard do they go in warm conditions? Warm and windy. Fletcher, Davies, and now Salmon. Fletcher's ahead of him. He's got Brennan to his right, who wanted to unleash that. He had Walker flowing in down from the right sides. Ignored him. Now Walker comes in. And now Gully will pass it around. Here's Boonis. Down to Purcell in midfield. Heavy touch, recovered well. Lampard. Avondale have all white shirts behind the ball. Sakia thumps that away. Peaches back on the spin nicely for Walker. Boonis trying to knock that one beyond James Riccobene. Turned around the corner from Salmon, gets it back from Walker. Salmon takes a few neat touches, and they call for handball, and Chris Hope obliges. Juggled that one too many times. Salmon.
Would have been spectacular if it come off, but yeah, I thought it sort of clipped him in the face rather than the hand, but Chris Hope in a much better position than we are. So
yeah, I thought so too. He sort of threw his head back when it came up at him.
As I said, the referee is holding a much better position than we are at the top of the hill here, so I'll take his word for that one.
Salmon and Fletcher trying to combine there, but it's Lundy who comes away with it. Good challenge from Purcell on Towns, and then a long aimless ball from Davies in midfield to no one out there on the left side.
That ball in the second half might work, so I don't think it's a bad ball to play, but you've got to read the conditions and think, how quick are my players and how strong is this wind? There's no way that they're going to get on the ball there. The first half is going to, in the second half is going to hold up, and that ball might work.
Boland nods it on to Valentini. Being one of Avondale's quieter competitors, and he's copped a knock on the foot there. He'll try and continue on here, Valentini. But he just hopped around for a second. Bit ginger, but he'll walk that off. Might have just been a case of someone trotting on his foot. Boland shifts it off to the side. Valentini good to go. Low cross comes in, deflected awkwardly. Jones came in retreating and clears it away for Gully. And now down to the near side, and that ball from Brennan just a bit too far in front of Fletcher. Get those comments coming in on the Facebook stream. Have a read of those at half-time and respond.
We've got Brandon Lundy to Western United now, so are Avondale going to have a team when Western joins?
That might become one of the premier feeder teams into the A-League. They've already got a handful of players who have left for the A-League. There might be even more.
Avondale alumni. There's a few teams now. I think you've got Avondale clearly in the last couple of seasons. You've got a couple that have played for Heidelberg, a couple of South Melbourne. So
yep,
it's good. It's good for the league. It's good for Australian football.
Davies out to Walker. And now Brennan motors away. His cross is too heavy and too far deep. So the 45 have expired here at Green Gully Reserve.
I haven't seen a board go up, so maybe we're not playing any extra, but definitely didn't see anything go up.
Hall heads that into midfield. Salmon dropping in, lays it off to Davies. Walker flying past. Davies takes it on his own shoulders, and that one's too close to Oldfield, who throws it out, and it comes out the side of the hand and carried with the wind. Valentini has to retreat. Ball down the line came off the heels of Lampard. Avondale just taking their time now, chewing up some seconds as we near half-time. Boland's long ball into the channel down the left, and Zinni will race onto this one. One last thrust perhaps for Avondale as Zinni works it onto the right boot, takes the shot and somehow squeezes it in. Remarkable. Stefan Zinni all the way down the left. A mishap from Jared Tyson. The challenge came in from the defence, and somehow he has squeezed it in to the bottom corner, and Green Gully players all over the field stand with hands on hips.
I think Sakir got a touch on that one, actually. It was, the shot sort of spilled, and Sakir just poked his toe out and poked it past Tyson. So a terrible ending for Green Gully. Going in 2-1 down, it's not too bad, but to concede so late in the half, that's going to be a big blow to try and overcome.
So that has, I'm sure, really shot the confidence of Green Gully as Chris Hope blows the first half to an end, and Gully, who were right in there, not just within touching distance, but there with Avondale for most of that first half, conceding 2 late goals. A penalty from Liam Bolins to make it 2-1 for Avondale, and then that scrap set up by Zinni, poked home by Tasuku Sakia, means that Avondale heading to the break 3-1 up against Green Gully. Normally, as I said, it's been Green Gully who scored 3 goals here in this fixture at this ground, but this time it's Avondale who have 3 to the half. Before we head to the break, Marcus, your thoughts on those first 45 minutes, and that took a big turn at the end of that first half.
Yeah, I think it's been fairly even. I think Green Gully started the best, and Avondale really just sort of came in and sort of got one sort of across the run of play.
Mm-hmm.
But then Gully equalised, and you sort of think, oh, we got a game. But Avondale really showed their class.
Welcome back to NPL Victoria, round 6, streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Welcome back to Green Gully Reserve, where Avondale lead this Saturday afternoon encounter 3-1. Jordan Canellis and Marcus Copsey with you as Green Gully get this second half back underway. It was an entertaining first half. It was even for most of the way through. Both sides had good moments and bad on the ball. Green Gully ultimately just couldn't find a way to really pressure Chris Oldfield's goal, apart from that one deflected chance that Andy Brennan was lucky enough to tuck into the back of the net. Avondale changed the momentum of this match with 2 late goals. One from Liam Boland, the penalty in the 39th minute, and then the very late goal from Tasuku Sakia, turning that one in after a scrap created by Stefan Zinni. So second half here, Jordan Canellis, Marcus Copsey alongside me. Marcus, what are you anticipating in this second half?
Well, we said it before the break. I think there's more goals in this. Gully, with the wind, weren't really playing to those conditions, but against the wind, I think they're actually going to play a lot better because those through balls will hold up. They'll be able to get on the end of them. What they have to be careful of is Avondale playing the through balls through with Stefan Zinni on the left-hand side, because he's probably the only player who's quick enough to get on the end of the balls with the wind behind it. So he caused problems in that first half, and he could do the same in the second half.
No changes from either side at the start of this second half either. So we'll get to those lineups, we'll read them out just to update you in a sec. Davies about to get on here. Flicks it over the top to Fletcher, who holds up on that far side of the ground, as we look at anyway, the near side for all the fans out there. Davies pokes it forward, Salmon brings it down, hooked up and away by Hillier, and now Sakia being pressured by Purcell, and Sakia just held onto it long enough and drew the foul. So the two sides as they line up, Jared Tyson in goals for Green Gully. Actually, we'll stick with this because Stefan Zinni's away. He's inside on Walker. Zinni takes the shot. Tyson can't hold the save. He parries it just enough for Jones to come in. Not quite clear of the danger yet. Avondale will come back in again. Cross is in. Boland's there. Sakia was waiting out the back. It's nodded away. Walker can't complete the job, so Towns comes in. Walker holds up Towns on the byline, and it comes off the Avondale player last for a goal kick. Madness in the 18-yard box. Gully desperate. Couldn't quite clear that with conviction though, Marcus.
It was a great save from Tyson. The shot didn't really have as much power as Zinni would have liked, but it was still going into that far corner, and it was a good strong hand from Tyson to keep it at 3-1.
Tyson in goals, Jeremy Walker right back, Daniel Jones, Jordan Hall at centre half, Jordan Lampard at left back for Green Gully, Jonathan Boonis and Timmy Purcell in midfield. Jay Davies playing as the playmaker, although I just spotted Boonis playing behind the striker at the moment, so Boonis and Davies might have swapped. Fletcher and Brennan on the wings with Alex Salmon up front. Nothing on offer there for Towns. I'm looking at the benches for this second half. If you're going to win a game based on your subs, Avondale have this one in the bag, because
it's not bad, is it?
Yeah, I don't want to be too. I don't want to degrade the bench of Green Gully too much, but it's basically full of youth players: Billy Siamis, Adisu Bayu, Jack Kotsanis, and Michael Tsitsides. No T-Boy Kamara today. Manny Muscat is still out, as he was last week, and that's pretty much as far as experienced senior players goes. Full stop for Green Gully. It is a very short squad, not much depth there. Davies on the far side, works in the cross, took a deflection, Oldfield on the bounce. So yeah, full of youth players, the replacements for Gully. Actually, that's gone out for a corner. Oldfield took it on the bounce, but it went out of play first. Avondale, well, their bench anyway, just to stay on topic. Marco Yanakis, the replacement goalkeeper, Jai Spiteri, but then you got Jonathan Germano, Yusuf Ahmed and Joey Katabian. Pretty handy.
Just in case they need a 5th or a 6th.
Corner in from Davies, this time onto the penalty spot, headed away. Boonis onto it. Works in the cross. The header is in. They've done that very well, Green Gully. And I think, was it Jonathan Boonis sent it in?
It was Jonathan Boonis' cross. I didn't quite see. I think it was Fletcher.
Either way, regardless of who scored the goal, Green Gully are getting themselves back into this game. It's 3-2.
An
At the start of the second half.
Unbelievable cross there from Boonis. He sort of turned and didn't even look, and it was pinpoint onto the head of, I'm pretty sure it was Fletcher. So game on.
Perfect way to start this second half. And the next 40 or so minutes will be a big build-up for Green Gully to get this equaliser. And then from there, who knows? High-scoring games they always are. 3-2 at the start of the second half. It was a good cross from Boonis as well. And maybe him playing up the field might be the changes things for Green Gully and Stephen Downs, the coach, in this second period. For now, though, Avondale on the ball. Zinni with Lundy. Off Boland and taken by Boonis. Lampard lost it. Jones recovering. His out ball not so good. Hit the back of Boland. Towns lets it run through for Valentini, who pushes it forward. He's got Zinni to his left. Here he is. Zinni shares it with Towns. Now Sakia tries to wriggle his way through. Green Gully players hold up and Avondale give away a foul. Long ball from Jones. Bounces away from Salmon. Came off Lundy. And now Fletcher rides his way through the gap. Carried out of play, but off an Avondale player last. So another chance for another corner here for Green Gully.
Really positive start to this second half by Gully. We said that really late goal in the first half might have sort of taken the stuffing out of them, but they've come out, they've been really positive, they've got that goal, and they're on the attack again.
Corner comes in to the edge of the box. Boonis tried to thump that one home. Purcell's shot carried a deflection. Appeal goes up for a potential handball, but Chris Hope steadfast on a corner.
Gully players are going absolutely mental. There's
plays everywhere surrounding Chris Hope.
I just thought they hit him on the foot, but they've obviously seen something we haven't, and it's been waved away, but really strong protests from Boonis especially.
All of a sudden, these set pieces, they were benign in the first half, now they're dangerous for Green Gully in this second half. Going into the wind is helping them. Davies from the near side now. Your broadcast sides. That one a bit heavy, as they were in the first half. Zinni collects and Lundy whacks it away. Sakia will provide chase, but Walker cool under little pressure. Boonis clouted downfield for Brennan. Brennan advancing. Still going. Takes the shots. Oh, almost through and just wide of that near upright of Chris Oldfield's goal. And now Green Gully are feeling it in this second half, Marcus.
Yeah, and we did say it in the first half that was another long ball that they played in the first half, and they probably did it about, I reckon, about 10 times, and 9 times out of 10 it went out. With that wind coming the other way, it's holding up, and they're giving their attackers a chance to get on the end of it, and it's really working. And Avondale look a bit rattled at the moment. Oh,
Another ball in, and Sakia chests it down. He wanted to get it to Oldfield, and it's gone a bit beyond his keeper, so out for another corner.
I don't think he was brought in for his defensive duties, so it's okay. Really good pressure though. You're playing against the league leaders. You were 3-1 down, and they've come out as if it's the start of the game and they're really positive.
Corner whipped in by Davies, front post, knocked away by Valentini. It'll come back, front post again, headed away by Phil Riccobene. Out into midfield now, Valentini. He duped Lampards to Timmy Purcell, recovered well. Defensive instincts, got in front. Very warm day out here at Green Gully Reserve. Wind just dying down a little bit, which makes the heat of the sun sear a little more. Sakia slaloming through, finds Boland, who takes the shots. And that shot was always rising. Good effort from Avondale, but the finish not great from Liam Boland, who already has 2 today, looking for a hat-trick.
I think he had more time than he realised. He probably had a chance to just sort of set himself, but he went for the early shot, and you don't see him often miss from that range. So, yeah, again, looking a little bit rattled at the moment, Avondale.
Chris Oldfield in goals for Avondale, Brandon Lundy at right back, Reid and Hillier at centre half, and James Riccobene out at left back. Phil Riccobene and Tasuku Sakia in centre mids. Stefan Valentini on the right wing, Yite Towns behind the striker, and Stefan Zinni on the left wing, who has caused havoc all afternoon. Liam Boland up front. And we mentioned the benches earlier, which includes Hermano, Ahmed and Katabian. Foul off the play here on Brennan, who has hit the deck, and so there'll be a chance from an off-the-ball incident for Green Gully. James Riccobene, the offender. He'll want to be careful, actually. He's on a yellow card already, James Riccobene. He was the one closest. Phil Riccobene is the one that Chris Hope is chatting to.
It's hard to tell them apart from a distance, isn't it?
It is. So everything is going Gully's way in this second half. The goal and all incidents are turning in their favour. Jay Davies, you can see him teeing this one up. It's probably a bit too far out for the direct chance, unless he's really adventurous, which he might be. Davies straight into the wall. He was feeling adventurous, but luck not on his side that time. Lampard will send in the second ball. Jones is up there, edge of the box. Well won by James Riccobene. Sakia hooks it away. Walker with the throw. Brennan tries to roll around. Riccobene kicks it into a man in front of him, and ricochets down to Chris Oldfield.
What were you just saying about that wind dying down, Jordan?
Yeah, it feels heavier now than the first half.
The sun's definitely got a bit hotter, I think.
Yeah.
And you'll see that as the game goes on, the players are going to start to feel it. And we did mention the benches, and with a really inexperienced bench, Green Gully are going to want to keep these experienced players on as long as possible.
Poor giveaway by Lampard. Sakia finds Boland, finds Zinni, takes the shots, hits the woodwork, and flies away. Stefan Zinni inches. That could have been a goal. It's only, we're coming up to the hour mark, but that could have been a goal that almost sealed it for Avondale. What a chance. What a build-up from Avondale.
That was a really, really good play, and yeah, you don't expect him to miss from there.
All from the giveaway from Lampard, who does better this time, finding Davies. Wants that long ball down to the right side, almost through to Brennan, but cleared away. Shot came in from Salmon, parried up and away by Oldfield, and then receives the header back from Scott Hillier. the directive from Stephen Downs at half-time. Take your chances. Chances are being taken. There was Salmon, and here is Towns. And now Stefan Zinni, the man who hit the post a moment ago. Towns under a bit of pressure from Brennan, who slid in from behind. Got a bit of the ball, but pushed it back to Hillier. Another dangerous chance there just a moment ago from Alex Salmon.
Yeah, it was a decent shot, good save, and then well defended afterwards. So, yeah, it was as I said, decent shot, but a keeper of Chris Oldfield's calibre, yeah, you'd expect a save from that. That's what he did. First change for Avondale.
And so Brandon Lundy will be the man to come off. He received a knock early in the first half, walked it off and has continued on well throughout the game, but he will take his leave, and on in his place, Jonathan Germano.
So it looks like
one of the superstar players of Victoria.
Looks like Phil Rekabane has gone right back now, and Germano will go into that midfield.
Yeah, very capable fullback, very capable at either fullback or centre mid, Phil Rekabane, so that's an easy swap for him. So Germano's role in midfield, what are you thinking? Will he play more of a central role, or will he slip into that number 10 position?
I don't know. They've got a couple of players that can, I think, we'll just go back to the play.
Towns slaloming his way through, didn't get all the way through. One back by Purcell, and now Davies hacks it forward, too far forward for Brennan. Oldfield waits on the edge of his box. I don't think Ute Towns has had the impact on this game that he would have liked from that central playmaking role, that number 10 role, if you like. He's been probably one of the quieter players in midfield.
Well, yeah, I haven't really seen him in that 10 role. I'd say it'll be Germano and Towns will go into the holding role, and Sakia will go into that 10 because he's been playing a lot higher.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, Sakia's playing a bit more advanced now. That challenge came in there on Phil Rekabane. He's gone to ground holding his right knee, and the trainer called out immediately, so I hope it's nothing serious for Phil Rekabane. Never good when they go to grab a knee immediately. Hopefully it was nothing more than just heavy impact, which I think looks to be the case because he's up now and supporting his body weight.
Been a few goals this weekend already.
There has been. I was going to mention some of those games from last night. Hume City 5-1 over Dandenong City. Good response after they were beaten by Bentley the week before. Not a huge scoreline back in round 5, just a 2-0 loss for Hume against Bentley Greens, but they were played off the park right throughout the match.
They look good this year, Hume. Yeah, after a couple of years of being maybe a little bit underwhelming, they look really good in 2019.
4-0 at half-time. Hume. Here's Towns, breaks into space. Hall was lagging behind. Cross cut back for Boland, who pokes at it. Never got the power behind it. Good chance there for Avondale. Bit lazy in defence though from Gully.
Everyone just stopped, so lucky to get away with that one. They've rode the luck a little bit. Not many chances going to Avondale. When they have, it's looked quite dangerous.
By the same token though, from just to go back to Hume, 5-1 over Dandenong City, who haven't really impressed so far this season, sitting bottom of the ladder. I was a believer in what Dandenong City had going. Lots of signings. I thought they would have been good, but obviously lots of signings in a higher division this season means you've got to make it click right from the start, and that just hasn't happened for Danny.
Well, signings don't necessarily mean that you're going to be good. They had a good side last year, and you'd think maybe give them a bit of a chance to prove themselves. You see other teams, not at that level, but you think of Richmond a couple of years ago, brought in a whole new squad and just really struggled, and it just didn't work. So you're right, teams need to click straight away in this league. You don't want to get too far behind, and I think, well, next week they've got a big derby against Dandenong Thunder, so that'll be one they'll really want to try to kickstart the season.
Gully shifting it around well in midfield. Davies out to that left side for Lampard. And now to Jones. Fletcher to Booners, who punches in a ball out to the back of the box looking for Salmon. Not accurate. And a sub coming up here for Avondale, their second. And it'll be Yusuf Ahmed to come on and Valentini off in his place. So that'll be a like for like, I'd imagine.
It's been quiet, Valentini, but I think we discussed it earlier. They've been primarily using Zinni's side, so it's been hard for him to have a bit of an impact on the game.
Highly rated player Yusuf Ahmed came through from Dandenong Thunder. Spent a lot of time at Melbourne City's youth team. He was there for about 3 years, where he was played in a number of positions. So we know he's versatile. He can play up front, he can play on the wing. Got a good size about him as well. You can see him, a tall figure out in that far wing for Avondale.
Still quick though, so
yeah,
big, powerful lad. So yeah, could cause some problems.
Here he is, Ahmed. Ball flies over his head, but you can see him almost towering over Jordan Lampard.
He's not that tall.
Davies gave that away. Brings Ahmed into the game. Pushes it into Germano. 2 subs combining. Attempted to thread that through for Boland, but cut out by Jones. Brunus being yelled at to go by his teammates. Gets it back from Walker. They'll retreat for a second here, Gully. Jones, nice outball to Lampard, who gets past Ahmed. And now Fletcher down the left, works in the cross. Picked up off by Oldfield, and Brennan came in. And he blasts the shot off the instep and out over the gates. And Salmon was bundled down in the goal mouth. Came together hard and landed heavily when he came into challenge on Oldfield.
Good chance.
Very good piece of play there from Gully. All started from that ball from defence by Daniel Jones, who saw something he liked out on that far side. Salmon looks to be okay. He's got that left wrist all sort of bandaged up. There's a support sort of cast around his arm as well. That was the injury concern for him coming into the season, but he didn't want to miss too many weeks, and he was good to pretty much start right from the off. Thankfully for Gully as well. Scored a handful of goals this season, 5 for him. Gusty breeze hasn't let up all afternoon here at Green Gully Reserve. It's been an added element into this game. Long balls holding up, as you see there, from Jared Tyson's goal kick. Germano in midfield, scragging away, finds Towns. Slow ball to Zinni. It's a low tempo build up, but Zinni will try and ratchet up the pace. Works in the cross, set it away by Hall. Well covered by Hall. Coming up to the 70th minute.
It's gone quickly this second half. The once Gully got that goal, not really too much has happened. So Gully just need to make sure there's not too much of a lull, and they keep pressing forward, trying to find that equaliser.
Momentary cloud coverage, providing a moment of respite for these players
And commentators.
Yeah, and commentators.
Very welcome.
From the bite of the sun. Zinni took on one too many players on that occasion. Germano picks it up. Ahmed was rattling through, didn't get on the end. Cut out by Jones, and now Lampard. Brunis's ball down to Fletcher. Gully yet to make a change. We're in the 72nd minute. You wonder which change will be the first. They've got 4 youth players essentially on their bench, or 4 players promoted, the seniors from the youth from last season. So not too many known names to the neutral fan of NPL Victoria. Walker finds Davies, gets it back from Salmon, and then cleared away quickly by Avondale. Diffused that attack easily. Ahmed skips around Lampard. Gives it to Towns. Ahmed continues on. He'll get it back. He's in some space now, Ahmed. Heavy touch. Tyson came out. Didn't hold the save. Ahmed's still in play, but his weight took him out of play behind the byline, and Jared Tyson completes the move. He'll be thankful that Ahmed's had a bit too much pace heading out to the byline. Not all of his saves have held today, Jared Tyson, as the flag goes up here on Alex Salmon. Been one of the pitfalls of his game this afternoon, Tyson. Not all his saves have held. He's just parried a few of them.
Yeah, he's a very capable shot stopper, but he is prone to spilling a couple. A couple of weeks ago we saw against Heidelberg United, back pass went straight under his foot and into the goal. Horrible commentator was let out a bit of a laugh when it happened, so my apologies for that. But it was just so unexpected at that time. The game, it was Gully were looking comfortable, and it just completely changed that first half then. So, but he's done all right. He gave away the penalty though.
A couple of changes for both sides. Timmy Purcell coming off for Green Gully, so we wondered what the first move would be for Gully and when it would be. It's Billy Tsiamis coming on for Timmy Purcell, and Tsiamis probably is one of the more experienced of the youth players. He was featured in the senior team a couple of occasions last season. And Joey Katabian coming on as well for Yitte Towns. So attacking options are plenty for Avondale. Admittedly, they don't really have any defenders on their bench either, so it sort of had to be. But Katabian, Ahmed and Germano all on in this second half, as we kind of expected for Avondale. The 3 well-known players on the bench.
You just think of the calibre of that player, and they'd probably be a starter at any other team in this league at the moment. And they're, especially someone like Joey Katabian coming from the A-League, can't even get a game at the moment. They're just playing so well.
Long ball from Ricabene, caught Boland offside. Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, Katabian was a key fixture in Avondale's side last season, which made it all the way to the grand final, and now he finds himself on a bench starting this season.
He's prone to an injury, and that probably doesn't help him, because when he does get in the team, he's struggling to put in a long run of games, but he definitely has that ability to change a game and really help his side this season.
Brunis is searching pass cut out by James Ricabene. Hillier back to his goalkeeper. There is Katabian, heads it down. Brennan side foots it. Salmon coming back from an offside position, and back to Boldfield it goes. Last night we saw the return of Hakeem Al Arabi to the NPL Victoria. Came on as a 48th minute substitute, so played most of the second half for Pascoe Vale, which is fantastic. I know there were some people who said we're not sure if we're going to see Hakeem back at all this season, which I thought was, I mean, maybe a possibility, but I thought at the same time a bit of a stretch given how, given the intent of Hakeem to come back and almost play football straight away. So it took 6 weeks, but Hakeem's back in the NPL, which is fantastic.
Yeah, well, I don't know why he would be out for the season. He's not injured or anything. And for him to get back to normality and playing every week and playing with your teammates and all that must be great for him. So, yeah, a real feel-good story last night. Maybe not for South Melbourne, but yeah, another loss. And I don't know what they do there at the moment.
Well, I think on Hakeem, I think people might have thought the trauma of the incident and maybe what it's done for his mentality. It's done absolutely nothing from what we've seen. I mean, it was obviously a hard situation, but he's come back ready to go. But yeah, and that was, I mean, yeah, South Melbourne, of course, they've not started this season all that well. Neither have Pascoe Vale, though. That was only their second win of the season too, so that was a needed win for them, as much as it would have been for South Melbourne had they won as well.
Definitely, yeah. There's a few teams at the moment just sort of just trying to get their footing this season, and there's obviously a long way to go, so I'm sure these teams will come good, but yeah, it's as we saw also last night with Oakley.
Yeah, well, Oakley, if you were to say who's been the most disappointing side this season, Oakley would probably have to be the front runner.
I had very high hopes for them this year.
Yeah,
and,
I think I tipped them for the grand final.
I definitely thought finals probably top 4 or 5, but yeah, very surprising. And well, beating champions Heidelberg last night. I was at the game and they really could have won by 4 or 5. So yeah, it's a win, and the first one under Chris Taylor. So yeah, we'll see how they go, but they definitely have a few things to work on, even though they won last night.
Ahmed turns that one to the left for Boland. Creeping inside the 18-yard box. Back to Ahmed, takes the shot. It was always high.
Good shape.
Showing what he can do.
It was a good game at Knight Stadium as well last night.
3-2 against Port Melbourne for Melbourne Knights. Albano scoring 2 goals. Port Melbourne probably another one that slipped under the radar a bit, but they've not really lived up to expectation this season either so far.
I don't mind them. We'll go back to the play.
Ahmed gets his way through a couple, muscles his way past Jones, slips it underneath the goalkeeper, and that might be the sealer. Yusuf Ahmed came on, having an impact, showed his power, showed his presence, and Avondale skip away to 4-2 with just over 10 minutes to go. And that was a wonderful goal.
Did really well to stay on his feet. He took a few bumps and kept his balance, and really good finish under Tyson, and I think you're right, that might be the sealer.
He could have gone to ground, Ahmed, but he is a physical lad, good size, and he wanted to show it there. Beat 2, almost got through 3 players in that passage, and finished it well too. Saw the goalkeeper coming out and just put it right underneath his armpit.
It's just another player they've got that can come on and do a job for the team. They're looking very, very good this year, and the last couple of seasons they've started really well, and sort of at the back end of the season when you got cup games and midweek and yeah, playing a lot of games, they've crumbled under the pressure. They got to the grand final last year and lost, but there's something different this year. They're looking really, really positive.
Does their squad look deeper than last season's?
It's a strange thing to say, but I think you're right, because
Brennan works in the ball to Salmon, who miscontrolled it, mistimed the left foot. Keeps it in though. Headed away by Sakia. It'll come down to Tsiamus. Has to control it awkwardly on the bounce, and now Boonis. Avondale players crowding that left pocket. Boonis tried his luck again, but cleared away by Avondale for a Green Gully corner.
Yeah, when you lose players of the calibre of Kane Shepherd and Elvis Kamsoba, and you have to replace those guys, they do look like they've got a deeper squad, which is is really weird to say, but I don't know. Having watched them last year and the year before, and seeing them now, they've started just as they did, but there's definitely something different.
Corner worked in deep. Katabian, the only man there, nods it away. Walker will poke it back through. Diagonal ball out to the far side. Tiamas, the shot came in from Brennan, who had a slash at it. Left foot first time and across the teeth of goal. They won't give up, Green Gully. Things were looking ominous though for Avondale when pre-season you saw the signings coming in, and it was one notable player after the other.
Yeah, well, I thought Sakia was a big signal of intent. He was obviously had that big game last year with Farapia and made a name for himself, and there was talk of him going to the A-League and all that, and then he signs for Avondale, and along with a couple of other signings, and you keep the core of your squad as well, and it really shows what this club is trying to do. And when the FFA Cup comes around, and I think most teams in the top flight, the top 4 or 5 teams, did get a fairly easy first round draw for the cup. But you think if they get to the round of 32 this year, who's going to stop them other than your sort of maybe your Sydney FCs again? But even then, they played quite well last year against Sydney FC. If it hadn't gone to extra time, and that's where they ran out of steam. But
yeah,
they when they got back, they looked really good.
Few scores around from NPL 2 or NPL. Yeah, NPL 2, it says NPL 1 still on the All Football 24 app. Werribee 4-0 over Springvale White Eagles.
They are the surprise package of NPL 2 at the moment. They're top of the league in the West, and the West is a really hard league this year, and they are absolutely romping it, so be very surprised by that.
Boland, long range, hits the crossbar. Not a bad effort from Liam Boland. Trying to recreate the magic that he created a few years ago, wearing the green and white. He was not far away either. Jared Tyson was wheeling back.
Yeah, Werribee Sizzy, watch out. They could be a good cup team this year.
Yellow card there for Jonathan Germano. Andy Brennan sort of latched to the back of his left knee even before he hit the deck.
He's saying substitution. I think he might have pulled his hamstring there.
Yeah, he slapped the ground in anger as well, which he's had his injury problems in the past and almost looked like he was cursing at himself.
Well, that tackle and the way he went down didn't look right. He was tackled lower leg and all that, and as soon as he grabbed the back of his leg, and he's immediately signalled for a substitution. So I think he's felt something has gone there, and he's walked straight off. So
took him a few goes to get up and hold his body weight, and yeah, he's coming straight off. So Brennan off, Adasu Bayou on, young player, and Brennan, well, he's walking off under his own steam, which is, I suppose, a first positive sign, but doesn't mean he hasn't injured himself either. Obviously they wouldn't have taken him off. Ball came in. Nothing there for Green Gully, so Davies will try it again from the left side. Can't get around James Prukabene.
He wouldn't have signalled that quickly if he didn't know something was wrong. So, and you sort of see him walking around. He's walking by himself. He looked quite dejected. I think he'll know that something's not right there. High-scoring games in NPL2 today.
No, 0-0 Whittlesea and Manningham United. Most of these games coming up to the final stages. St Albans.
I've been impressed with Manningham coming up from State League 1. I was at their first game against Bulleen, and coming up a side that was just relegated, they did really well and were really unfortunate to concede in the last minute. Langwarren, as you were just about to say, St Albans have beaten them 2-0. The Langwarren have been really impressive this year as well under Scott Miller.
10-man, St Albans as well. Box Hill United, this is one of the feature games on NPL, Facebook and YouTube. Michael Thompson's out calling that one, 2-1 against Moreland City at that ground there, Wembley. We continue on here though at Green Gully. Gully trying to look for another one to get themselves back into it. 4-2 the score, so they're a bit of a way away with 5 minutes to go. Boonus having to give up ground for Jordan Hall. Floats a long ball back out to that far side. Boonus again, Phil Riccobene ahead of him. Gets in the cross and comes out off Riccobene and out for a corner.
Yeah, Moreland City, we spoke about earlier, were so close to getting promoted and taking the place of Green Gully. That was ridiculous football. That was unbelievable to watch.
Corner came in, cleared away by Boland, and now the mistake from Walker has allowed Zinni to come through. He's got Sakia to his right. He's got Katabian loping ahead as well. Zinni might go all on his own. He does, and he finishes this game off. Stefan Zinni puts the sealer on for Avondale, and they will go 6 from 6 to start the season. He's played a hand in almost every goal this afternoon for Avondale, and he's got one to call his own. It's 5-2 for Avondale, and they'll win this game.
He's a serious contender for the gold medal this year, in my opinion. He's a different, well, I don't even think he's a different player. He's just got that opportunity, and he's really taken it. And every game I've watched him so far, he has been one, if not the best player on the park. And today he's been head and shoulders above everyone else.
And a solo effort as well. I mean, I know Green Gully didn't have too many defenders in that area, so it was all Avondale numbers, but he could have given it off to Sakia, who was more central, or Katabian, who's a goal scorer as well, but went on his own, found that extra gear of pace to blast past his man and finished it very nicely. Green Gully make a final change in these dying stages, but it's all Avondale now. Here's Adisu Bayou. Nice little turn to get past James Riccobene. Works in the cross, cleared away. Back down to Katabian. Sakia will retreat. I'm still admittedly yet to see a couple of teams, but I do think the gold medal will come down probably to a winger this season. I've seen Valentino Uel a couple of times from Bentley, and he
looks good, doesn't he?
He has been ultimate this season. So
he looks really good.
I'm all for a gold medal race between Uel and Zinni.
I'd have a foot race between them. It would be interesting as well. Chuck Winks in there, and we'll see who can win.
If put Winks in there, Winks would win, wouldn't she? Still undefeated.
News filtering through that she's won again, so she hasn't raced against Stefan Zinni yet, though. One more NPL2 score is Geelong 1, Murray United 1, my old team, Murray United. Yeah, 25 minutes played there, but I don't know if you saw the scenes at North Geelong last week. Fantastic for the game. There was just so many supporters in for that derby, and for the people of Geelong, that was really positive to see. So yeah, I'm a big supporter of NPL2, and yeah, the crowd at that game, the North Geelong supporters were really good.
So extended junk time effectively. Still a couple of minutes in regulation to go, but Zinni's goal pretty much has killed the game off for the last couple of minutes. Avondale will win this one comfortably. 3 minutes of added time at Green Gully Reserve. It's been the most enjoyable game, it must be said, even though Green Gully will end up losing this game by 3 goals, but They were pretty competitive in the first half. First half didn't end the way they would have liked it. But then an early goal at the start of the second half made it a contest, and every duel on the ground had a bit more in it.
Yeah, they really haven't backed down from them. They know that Avondale, the quality they possess, and they didn't try and park the bus. They didn't try and go for the draw. They've gone out to win this game, and they did look really good in the start of that second half. So I think despite it being 5-2, they'll be pleased with how they played, and yeah, against a lesser opposition, which is anyone else in the league, they're gonna do well.
You saw the number 19 there for Grand Gully, Michael Tsitsidis, who came on after that Stefan Zinni goal, on for Lampard. Final change for Gully made a couple of minutes ago.
Interesting ball.
Yeah, diagonal backwards into no one.
Not too sure who he was aiming for there, but at 5-2 up, you could probably try something like that.
So this result will take Green Gully to 3 wins and 3 losses to start the season. They beat Altona and Heidelberg in the first 2 weeks, lost to Bentley and Dandenong City, surprisingly, in rounds 3 and 4. Beat Port Melbourne last week, so a bit up and down to start the season. 3 wins will look nice against their name, but could have had maybe a bit more, especially looking back now at that Dandenong City game. Here's Boland, Siamis and Boonis closing this game out. Davies gets away from Germano. Ahmed with the ball at his feet. It's been super impressive since he's come on. Not just the goal he's scored, but the work he's done. Here's Sakia, nice touch. Walker tries to shove him off, but Sakia stays on the ball. Small player, low centre of gravity, hard to knock him over. Ball taken away from him. Boonis slides in and kills the play.
My question to you would be, the way they're playing at the moment, is there a team in the NPL Victoria who can beat Avondale? You've got your Bentley Greens, you've got Heidelberg, you've got South Melbourne at their prime, Oakley if they get going. I don't think there is.
I'll answer that in a sec. Full time here at Green Gully Reserve, and Avondale, they appear to be the juggernaut. 6 wins from 6 matches. They are unmatched this far into the year. Every win in this winning streak becomes a statement. Full time at Green Gully Reserve. It ends Green Gully 2, Avondale 5. And, well, who does beat Avondale this season? If I was to answer your question, Marcus, I saw Bentley last week. They're probably the closest. They probably keep possession a bit longer than what Avondale do. Avondale showed that they're a great counter-attacking team today. They can hold the ball as well as any other team, but they've got some great outlet players on the wings, as do Bentley. They probably play a similar game style, you'd have to say.
Yeah, well, the first 15 minutes we were talking about Avondale looking shaky, and they've just won the game 5-2. So they're just a class above every team they've played at the moment. Now, they haven't played your Bentleys, your Heidelbergs, and the other big teams. But if they play like this, it's going to be very tough for anyone really to match it with them.
The draw they've got coming up is they don't play the super powered teams yet, but they've got a couple of tricky fixtures coming up. Melbourne Knights next week. That is at the what are they calling it now? Avenger Park. Avenger
Park, yes. Not Marvel Stadium. Avenger Park.
Yeah. Melbourne Knights next week. Hume City the week after. Both of those sides have had good starts to the season, find themselves in the top 6. Then Dandenong Thunder the week after. Oakley Cannons and Altona Magic. So all very winnable games for Avondale. You can't see this winning streak.
Well, that will mean they'll probably have Bentley, Heidelberg, and South Melbourne in 3 weeks
immediately.